And speaking of hit jobs, China is at it again, mounting a new challenge to India's sovereignty. It began with the CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. It goes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. It's a clear violation of India's sovereignty. But China sees no problem with it. In 2020, China announced a power project in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and now it is targeting Aksai Chin. China wants to build a railway line through India's Aksai Chin. This is the region we're talking about. It's Indian territory. China illegally occupied it during the 1962 war, and now it wants to consolidate its hold by building a railway line. It will connect Xinjiang to Tibet, and it will cut through Aksai Chin. As always, the Chinese paint this as a civilian project, but if you know anything about Chinese projects, you know that they always serve more than one purpose. This one, the railway line, has a distinct military purpose. The PLA, the People's Liberation Army, can use it to mobilize quickly, especially along the border with India. And New Delhi has a reason to be worried. Let me explain how this works. Tibet is at the center of this plan. China is building a massive railway network here. Currently, it is 1,400 kilometers long. The new plan is to expand this to 4,000. What for? To integrate remote areas, to cut travel time, and of course, to enable swift military mobilization. The Xinjiang-Tibet railway line is part of the larger project. Here is the proposed route. It begins in Shigatse in Tibet. The final stop is Hotan in Xinjiang. And here is the part that New Delhi should worry about in particular. The planned route passes through two border areas, the Pangong Lake on the Chinese side, which is also the center of the current standoff, and Rutog County. Again, this is close to the LAC, the line of actual control. Reports say the PLA has frontier bases here. So those were the two planned stops. How quickly can China build this? The construction plan has been split into two phases. Phase 1 will be completed by 2025, that's 2 years from now, and Phase 2 will be finished by 2035. When will the railway line reach Aksai Chin? 2025, that's what the Chinese media claims. They're calling it the Shigatse Pakutokso section, the part that would run through Aksai Chin. Let me quote from a Chinese mouthpiece. This is what they say. By 2025, the construction of several railway projects, including the Yan-Ningchi section of the Sichuan-Tibet Railway, the Shigatse Paktukso section of the Xinjiang-Tibet Railway, and the Bomi-Rauk section of the Yunnan-Tibet Railway will all see major progress according to the plan. This is what they're saying, major progress. That's for the Aksai Chin section. So the plan is to build quickly. And this should be problematic, not just for India, but also Nepal, because China is targeting Nepal too. The new railway routes will run up to China's borders with Nepal. Under this plan, Girong will get a railway line. This is a land port. It falls on the Nepal-Tibet border. So expect the Chinese to show up there. In fact, China has been rapidly expanding its border infrastructure. In 2021, Tibet got its first bullet train. It linked Lhasa to Ningchi. That's near the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh. The railway line is barely 16 kilometers from the de facto border. Why is that a reason to worry? Because China claims the entire state of Arunachal Pradesh as its own territory. They call it South Tibet. There is no merit to China's claims. But then again, merit is the last thing that the Chinese care about. In 2021, Xi Jinping paid a visit to Tibet. It was the first visit by a Chinese president in 30 years. Do you know what he chose to highlight there? The bullet train project. The Chinese president even took a ride on the bullet train. The message was quite clear. China will continue to press with its territorial claims and build infrastructure to secure its hold. What is India's response? New Delhi is responding in kind, ramping up its own border infrastructure. India's strategy has two parts. Number one, building infra on the Indian side. The focus is on all states and union territories that share a border with China. The likes of Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, and Arunachal Pradesh. India is keen on improving connectivity to remote areas. More roads are being built. In fact, I have some data. From 2014 to 2022, India launched a massive construction spree. Over 6,000-kilometer long roads were built. Compare that to the previous years. Between 2008 and 2014, India built just over 3,000-kilometer long roads. So the pace of construction has doubled. That's part one of India's strategy. Part 2 involves India's immediate neighborhood. I'm talking about countries like Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal and Myanmar. India is investing heavily in these countries. It is funding connectivity projects, and dozens of them, like railway lines that connect Nepal to Bangladesh, and the Sitwe port project. It connects Myanmar to India's Mizoram. How will these investments help? China wants to expand its influence in South Asia. It wants to build more ports and highways. This will pile debt on India's neighbors and create security challenges for New Delhi. So India is working overtime to neutralize China's design, and it won't be easy, because we hope to match in a few years what China has been doing for decades. While they're building or looking to build a railway line through Tibet, we are still working on Mumbai-Delhi connectivity. I know there's no comparison, but it tells you how India is making up for deficits of the past while trying to meet the challenges of the future.